All right, let's try this out. Give me a second here. Gonna work through this. All right, so um, I have 3 monitors, and I'm gonna be turning my head quite a bit. So just bear with me. I got my AI eyes toggled on. So the point of this video is to have a developer log type where I could just share updates, because the last video I made was April 10th, and today is June 7th. So I've been busy, and I just want to show what I've been working on. So I want to just go. I'm just going to be all over the place. I don't have a script. I just have notes, but I kind of want to go at a high level from the start. So what is GuitrSesh? Uh, well, it's a software that I've been creating for the past 4.5 years, reaching 5 years, with the goal of opening tablature files and allowing me to plug my guitar into my computer and basically turn my guitar into a video game controller. So I have GuitrSesh open. You can see the background screen going on, and I have a version number, version 2.7Q alpha. So I made this YouTube channel back in 2013 or the end of 2012, around there. And I made it with the goal of making custom songs and playing them on software. So it's been a long-term journey, and there's many hats I have to wear other than just playing guitar. And the purpose of this YouTube channel is just to show the output of my projects, not necessarily what goes on behind the scenes per se. So this software is closed source. I'm aiming to have it be a commercial release. And I'm just working on that goal. Along the way, I've been writing and recording songs as a way to test this software. And currently I am the only person that has access to this software as of making this video. And there's a very important reason for that. It's because of legality, due to myself wanting to keep this closed source commercial. I do not want to have public open source code. That is not my goal for this project. I do not see the benefit of sharing source code open source. I don't want to go that route. So with GuitrSesh here, in my private source code, my goal is to let users have a user experience. I don't want any other people behind the scenes on this project other than myself as a sole proprietor. This software, GuitrSesh, has led me to create my own sole propriety. Not a LLC. I have no other employees. It's just me. So there's a lot of reasons for me wanting to keep this private. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with what it takes, how many hats I have to wear. And I'm okay with whatever comes with keeping this closed source commercial license. With that said, My goal was to release this on Steam June 12th, 2026. However, I encountered obstacles. I want to be visible or have visibility with this project and share. Valve rejected my initial review due to legality reasons. And I currently have a meeting or a call scheduled with the lawyer tomorrow. But basically that rejection from Valve is not something I considered. When I came up with the release date of June 12th, I just thought that Valve would accept it. I thought I had everything checked out regarding legality, licenses. It's a bit of a long checklist to get a closed source commercial project out there compared to a open source project. So if this project was open source and I wasn't seeking monetary aspect, I would have released this years ago. But that's not my goal. Because my goal being closed source commercial, I have a much larger checklist. Extremely long checklist. 5-year long checklist. But that's okay. I think it's worth the wait. And I think people will see why I made this decision to take this project this route. Whenever it is, they're able to see more of the project other than these videos that I'm making here. So this is a software project, which requires hours and hours of programming. And that is a lot for one person. There's many departments, front end, back end, database, security, QA, development, Scrum Master, business analyst. It's basically the requirements of a full team. And that amount of effort and responsibility increases the release date. This isn't something that I had to wait this long to release, 5 years, in that, sure, I could have released earlier versions back in 2023. Since 2023 and on, I've had very good playthrough data of my own sessions. Fully functional and able to be shared. I mean, other than the requirements for legality of closed source commercial. So, with that said, perhaps we could dive into the more fun stuff, depending how much I want to share. So, for 2 months, almost 2 months, from April, mid-April to present day, I have been doing nothing but programming. So, different responsibilities of this project: writing, recording, mixing the guitar songs, programming the software between GuitrSesh and Song Creator. Song Creator is another aspect of this project that is more private. Let's just say Song Creator generates these tablature files. And that's not something I intend on releasing at the moment at all. Currently, I'm only releasing GuitrSesh. So GuitrSesh lets you open your tablature files and play them. It just opens the file and reads the data and puts it on this software for you to play guitar with. So I have the program open on my other monitor here. And I was hoping to just share what I've been up to the past 2 months. And if I could start in the order, I have some small notes to go off of. So, in the past, when I played, I had my own difficulty system. And that is using previous playthrough data to modify the tempo, the BPM of the song, measure by measure. So what that means is every time you play a song on the software, everything is saved, all that data. What note you missed, what note you hit, your accuracy, your hit streak. Every time you play, everything is saved data-wise. And what you do with that data is alter the tempo of the song. So there's a way when you open the song, you have settings to alter the song tempo based on that previous playthrough data. And there's a bunch of different calculations as to how that's done, different user configurable variables as to those settings, because there's quite a few settings. So all that time, 3 years, I've had that one particular difficulty setting. And around April, March, somewhere around that time frame, when I publicly announced this project, I shared that aspect of only having that difficulty, because my preference of having 100% of notes displayed is based on my own playthrough. I don't like removing notes. That was just me personally. Very cool. It was very efficient for me, where I saw progress throughout 3 years of playthrough data, from not knowing how to play a song at all to playing the song slowly in a fun aspect as a video game with my controller as a guitar plugged into my computer. It was very fun. So I would use these sessions as a way to playtest the software itself. And I wrote this software based on my own recordings of 500 some sessions overall throughout the past 13 years, but since 2021, every session has been with this software. And it's been tailor-made. And it's something that I can see players who are new to the guitar being able to use this tool to motivate them and really to hear themselves. This is similar to session musician reading tablature, recording. This software allows very precise recording. So if I could just briefly go over the changelog for the past 2 months, I'll share aspect number 1. What did I first work on? Well, this first thing that I worked on back in April. Okay, before I get into that actually, let me give some context, additional context. So this year, or actually for a year now, back in May 2025, I started an album of guitar songwriting, 3 guitar arrangements using the song creator. And from May 2025 to February 2026, I focused on what I called album number 3. The third album that was with this GuitrSesh. The third album that was written by song creator. So I've had that one album completed this year. Album number 3 released on March 7th, 2026. And then immediately following that, March 14th, 15th, I began album number 4. So to give additional context, what I would do with Song Creator is I would generate these tablature files, and I would use my playthrough data to generate the tablature files. In particular, the note speed. Like, in terms of the pacing of the notation, writing on the tablature file. Eighth notes, quarter notes, half notes, dotted notes, quarter, whatever, tuplets, the note lengths. And in a way to have the best arrangement that would allow me to record with 100% of the notes on there. So, like, what is the most complex yet possible arrangement possible based on my own playthrough data? And that's what album 3 and album 4 are about. So album 4 I started in April, about April 14th, April 15th. Oh, I'm sorry. I started album 4 in March 14th, March 15th, 1 week after the release of album 3. So with that data, I would use GuitrSesh to play, obviously. But there's these really big things that I've been writing in the program. It's GuitrSesh. They have required multiple layers of planning and layers, architectural design, and software. So let me just start with the first thing. The first thing I added was another difficulty option. But before I get there, the way that I access that area was through the settings. But currently you can see I have tempo. That's how you change the tempo based on your previous playthrough data. Go through the tempo screen. This was pre-existing data. I've enhanced the UI like quite a bit. That was my overall goal, to enhance all the UI everywhere. I'm not sure if this has been shown on screen yet, but that UI is enhanced. So this is my pre-existing behavior though. You see the measures. This is the dynamic tempo. But in this version of the program, I kind of renamed that dynamic tempo. And I gave it a new definition. And I added another definition called dynamic tempo. That's different than the old previous one. So the one that I'm currently on, I now call static altered tempo. So that means I have dynamic tempo and I have this static altered tempo. So let me go to settings. I tried to enhance the UI of the settings screen, so it may look better than it has in previous videos. But if I go to playback, in this assistance mode in particular, called static altered tempo, but I get to change it by clicking the button. So there's, oops, let me reset. I hit repeat times instead. So I changed this button. No assistance, dynamic tempo, dynamic difficulty, static altered tempo. So number one, that's what I started with. Dynamic difficulty. And this took a lot of planning. because it required me to alter the program, right? The program, obviously. But it was the first thing that started a chain, this number one change, dynamic difficulty. But this dynamic difficulty, I got it, right? So it required a lot of planning, 12 phases of implementation. Settings saved. Now, when I go back to this screen, the word tempo is replaced with levels. And you go into there, you get the walkthrough. So this walkthrough is something new as well. This walkthrough is a tutorial that'll walk you through the UI aspects. The dynamic difficulty settings, it's just showing you this screen replaces the tempo button, while dynamic difficulty is your assistance mode. So I gave it a new word, assistance mode. And from there, you can go to the next step, but I'm going to skip it. I'm not going to go over all of these details. Basically, there's a bunch of UI you can change that the user is allowed to configure, whatever. These settings save per user, not per song. So you just change it however you like based on your playthrough, whatever. And that's the behavior of notes appearing and disappearing without altering the song's tempo. So that's the song's default tempo. Notes display or not display based on your current level. And there's another setting, right, called dynamic tempo. Save that. Which is the same concept of levels, but the notes, 100% of the notes are there on the screen at all times. And the thing that's different is the tempo dynamically as you play. So I'm going to skip the tutorial. These are different user settings for each level that you get to control, and other settings. But don't save that, I don't want to make changes. So you start at a level, you play the song's tempo adjusts live as you play it. So that's the difference between this dynamic tempo and the static altered tempo. Static altered tempo is the song doesn't adapt as you play. It's set to a certain measure by measure tempo basis once before the song starts. So that took a lot of work to get that implemented and functional between the different modes, because the career mode was set to that static altered tempo. But I implemented the other modes, I had to get them wired into the career mode as well. So let's start with career mode. Okay, so career mode here on the UI, I did a little bit of adjustments. I added little different UI aspects, flags to the countries, progress bars. So let's just go to a venue as an example. Go to Japan, Osaka. I'm not sure if I showed this on screen, this UI of the venue screen. Let's go to a venue. It's been a long time. I really changed everything, like almost every aspect of this project, so it's hard for me to remember what was last shown. Let's go to that venue. Set list was created. So now this is new. On the right side, the assistance mode there's toggles, right? Now that there's different assistant modes, I had to add that into the career mode. So it's no longer just set to that one version. You get to choose between the different assistant modes: the dynamic difficulty, dynamic tempo, or no assistance. So once you choose one song, after you play a song, that setting is locked for the full set list, including the difficulty settings. So the tempo level, you get to choose your difficulty settings just like before. That's the same, but like what the definition of the level is differentiates between the different modes. Let's see what else. So I went over the dynamic difficulty, the dynamic tempo, the assistance modes, and then the career mode. Next thing I modified is the gameplay, in particular the HUD, the highway. I added some settings, quite a few. One group I added here: song structure, overlay, displaying measure bar lines, section lines, chorus, verse, intro, something called progress bar, a UI of the current progress of the song rather than reading text of, oh, you're 1 minute in of a 3-minute song. I wanted a visualization showing that aspect of progress of the song without having to read something when you're trying to focus on the notation. That processing time of 1 minute out of 3 minutes is more latency in my fingers between hitting the next note compared to reading a visual progress bar. So that's the theory anyway. So progress bar location, you could change the location. I put it below finish line, or you could have it off, or you could have it above the starting line. The logic between the below finish line is that my eyes are focused on half of the screen and below, and if I have it above, that's latency to my playthrough. So I'm going to show off a little bit the measure bar lines, section colors, progress bar, section lines, highway, below finish line. But I want to give a little note that if I could find it, there's a tutorial switch, monitor, playback. Nope. Oh, this is new. Yep, files. It kind of scans your... Oh, I should put it on streamer mode, huh? Oh, I am. To do. This shouldn't be on streamer mode. Security. All right. Next up, there's more things here that I added regarding HUD. Fret numbers. There's different settings on that, right? So the frets text below the finish line, and I'm throwing this vocabulary around. Finish line, start line. So this right here is the start line. And this right here down here is the finish line. So the notes start at the starting line, the notes end at the finish line, and then there's frets text below the finish line. So the setting that I had for the frets text is to allow, well, let's say like you look at these frets. Each line here represents frets, right? And the notes go in the middle. So how are you going to know what fret is what? Because the current version of this program, it shows all frets throughout the project or throughout the song with static camera. It doesn't move around. So you have to have these frets text that show what fret. So when I play tested, I gone through different versions. I had text displayed at all times. And for me, as I was playing, that felt too much to read and interpret and add latency to my playthrough. Make me miss notes. Because I have to say, where is the note in relation to that fret? So if every fret's text is displayed and there's a fret's text, and then there's a note on one fret over here, and then there's a couple of gaps between notes on another fret, reading every single fret text between caused inaccuracy. So I had a system display only the frets text that had active note, and that has its own definition. By the way, these ideas are copyrighted. I wish. It's my own playthrough test data of what makes this efficient, which will ideally be beneficial to other people through this project. GuitrSesh. So that was my own playthrough of the frets text logic of having only active notes with frets text displayed. And when I announced this GuitrSesh project, there was feedback I got on that, which I am taking into consideration. One area in particular, well, let me just say it's got me started changing things around. So the options I started were different options. So fret numbers below, one option is all, active only. So this means it'll only display the frets text for active notes, or it'll be all always on. So you have it always on, right? Or off, or landmarks always on, or landmarks active only. What are landmarks? When you look at your guitar frets 3, 5, 7, 9, 12, 15, 17, 19, 21, right? And that's another setting. So you can have the landmarks always on, or you can have the landmarks only with active notes. And there's another option. Instead of having the fret numbers below, you could have the fret numbers in the lanes where the notes are displayed. You could have them at all, and you could change the watermark capacity so it doesn't blind you, or you could have it landmarks, 3, 5, 7, 9, whatever, always on or active only. Or you could have inlays. So let's try all active only with dotted inlays. And we're going to try the measure bar lines and all that. And then a beat level subdivision, why not? We're going to have everything. Save that. I hit save, that should have caught it. Alright. I'm just going to hit start. And what I was looking for is monitor setup. I don't know if I have it a toggle on to go back there. But the screen showing the warning because I have OBS and I have shadow play. So we'll see if the video gets 60 frames smooth movement. But I know I will get smooth movement on my screen. So here's the dotted inlays, right? And the progress bar and the beat level subdivisions. So the progress bar on the bottom, which I'm in the way of. Let's see, can I move? Nope, the camera's moving me back. Basically, on the bottom, there's a UI, right? For the progress, and it's moving. And there's lines for the measures, there's lines for the beat level, there's lines for the sections. So that's a section, that orange one. Section, measure, beat, subdivision. So let's, and you've got text for active notes only. And then you can see a little progress bar moving. Before it's a bit dim and after it's brighter. Might be hard to tell between this color and the dim one, but it's in progress, it's functional. And another feature on top of that is you get to use this as a way to skip forward or rewind. So if I click, you see the progress bar is reaching halfway point. If I click far past the halfway point, oh, before I do that, I have to pause the song, pause UI. I go now, on the progress bar, when I highlight it, it gives the time and the measure number. So let me just skip ahead. So now you can see the time text changed to 146. Let me skip backwards. It's 44 seconds. Skip ahead, 1 minute, and I hit play. Bam. That's a lot of beat level subdivisions. This time signature must be low. Let me stop, go to playback, turn off beat level, turn off section, only have measure bar lines. Save it again, go back, pause it, start it, pause it, skip ahead, go here. You see the measure numbers keeping up. It's kind of doing a fast forward. And then we could do stop, go to settings, playback, or actually appearance. Playback and appearance, they kind of blend together there. But let's do all always on for above and below. So this is a bit blinding. It's funny how frets above 12 are not on. I wonder if that's because there's no notes above fret 12. But anyways, so let me stop it. Let's go to settings, playback, appearance. Let's go to fret numbers in lane, landmarks only. Let's go to fret numbers below, all, active only, watermark opacity the same. Oops, let me go back. Settings, playback, appearance, landmarks always on for the fret numbers in line. You could, it's just an idea. I haven't played with this inline before, but I think the inlays would be good rather than the numbers, but who knows? Me personally, it does help. All right, so gone over gameplay HUD. Another thing is just a visual overhaul in multiple menus. The enhanced UI, shadows on the back of the start menu, the texture, the fonts and the gameplay. This is a bit everywhere. Screen by screen, the stats screen has been polished to change the panels. Enhance the gives little grade indicator. The amp, in-game amp, so you have your own in-game audio, tuner, the chord detection screen, quite a bit of polish user configuration there. Let's see. And really the biggest thing is architectural overhaul. And it's a bit hard to describe that really, but it's more of like a designing thing. So when I had this project, right, I kept building on top of it. And what I mean by when I had this project, what I mean is like when I started this project, I started with a design that, man, this is hard to describe. Describing like programming, behind the scenes stuff. The easiest way to say it's something called a monolith, right? So I designed this GuitrSesh. I designed this particular section of GuitrSesh as a monolith. One file had 20 different files referencing it. It just became this giant thing that became responsible for everything. It became responsible for actions across multiple different aspects of this project. It worked with this screen, open song screen, tempo screen, the guitar input screen, the settings screen, the start menu, the career mode, the measure master. Measure master is something else I've been improving. The functionality of this screen altogether. So you choose what song you want to work on. So it says I need work on Monica Road. I choose measure 43 up to 50. what I do is when I click one measure and I hold down shift and I click another and it chooses that range, and it says I want to do 4 loops, add to queue, selected measure 43 to 50, 4 times, start queue, start. Then it says you're looping that measure. So one thing, I'm not sure if I worked on saving the progress of each practice. I think I started it. Let's just say I haven't play tested it. There's different levels of playtesting. Playtesting that requires having guitar in hand, which is a few aspects. So I have not play tested all of these new modes, but I have very thorough tests on every aspect of it, from literally every aspect of it. It's just a different level of playtesting with guitar in hand that I have not reached yet, that I can't ask anyone else to take participation in yet for legal reasons. I have to be the only person with the software until certain goals met, because once someone else has the software, that changes everything. And like I keep saying, it's a very large checklist for one person. What else? I'm sure if I end now, I will come back saying I missed something. But at the same time, I kind of went over a lot here, right? So let's just go with that. Keep it under an hour. And if you want to have updates on this project, or if you want to be in tune or kept up on updates of this project, I have been updating the Steam announcements when I have big announcement, and I have been posting developer log text in Discord. There's been a Discord I created for this to be more communicative than just YouTube. But with that said, I'm just going to end it here and go to the next devlog for more. See you later.